Okay, welcome and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, 6 CRM Strategies Guaranteed to Maximize Profits. My name is Eliana Raggio and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealeron. And if you've never heard about Dealeron, well, that's okay, but we want you to know that we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. And Dealeron was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2011, and Dealeron customers were winners of the Spring 2012 Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards. And we're the only company in the industry to offer a lead guarantee program. That's right, a lead guarantee program. So to find out more about that and us, check us out at Dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We have Bill Wittenmyer, Vice President of eLead1 with us today. He's eLead1 is an award-winning CRM company with the largest automotive-only call center based right here in the United States. In addition to his daily responsibilities of the sales division, Bill also handles all OEM relationships for the company and key accounts, such as Auto by Tel. Prior to joining eLead in 2002, Bill spent over a decade in automotive retail, holding various positions in operations management with organizations such as the Coggin Automotive Group. Bill is active in several prominent automotive forums, speaking at numerous venues each year, and as a representative of eLead1, was a finalist for the American Honda Premier Partner Award. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your questions live, we're going to respond by email later today. And don't forget, a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording will be emailed later today for your reference. Share it with friends and colleagues. And if you heard me earlier, then you already know that eLead1 is offering up an amazing gift to just one lucky attendee today. A 500-name Gold Digger campaign gift certificate valued at $1,750 will go to one lucky attendee. All you have to do is go to Dealeron Google+, go to our Google+ page, and answer a simple question. The question is, tell us the most innovative example of customer follow-up or lead generation that actually worked in your dealership. The address is on the screen, so go now. The best answer takes the prize, and it's the Google Plus page, the gplus.2/Dealeron. Good luck, everyone. I hope somebody on here wins it. Now let's get started. Let's learn about the 6 CRM strategies guaranteed to maximize profits. Bill Wittenmyer, how the heck are you today?
I am doing great. This is a great practice session, so I'm looking forward to the real one tomorrow when we go through and do that. So, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon.
Yeah, well, they can't answer you, so I'll talk for them. They all say good morning and good afternoon back to you. And I want you to know, Bill, I'm really, really excited for this webinar because I know that CRMs are the most underutilized tool that a dealership has at their disposal. I know that there are dealerships out there who really, really, really need this information. So I'm really excited to hear from somebody who knows the CRMs inside and out, how we can best make our CRMs work smarter and work harder for us. So tell us, what are we going to be learning today?
Well, first of all, thank Dealeron. My objectives today, we've just got a few to go through, and we'll keep it brief, but really to the point. First of all, we want to realize the potential of CRM to drive revenue and growth. We want to discover the art of unreasonable expectations and follow-up, and we want to understand how to manage activities versus results. And then we'll wrap up with a question and answers part of the session.
That sounds great. And like I said earlier, if you have questions, send them along to me during the presentation, and we will get to those as soon as we can. Bill, let's get started. What you got for us?
Well, we've got our large automotive dealer group case study, and this is an interesting piece that we're looking at here. This is the last 90 days, up to date through yesterday, large automotive group in the United States, just about every region of the country. What we're looking at here is 58,000 unsold showroom customers that were contacted by a live call doing a survey, and this is the customer's response. I don't want to spend a lot here, but take a look at this. 20,037 in April, unsold showroom people that we spoke to live. Our first column, Percentage of customer follow-up, 46.1. So in essence, what that tells us is 46% of the people that we talked to actually said they had been followed up with by the dealership. Conversely, demo drive, 67% of those 20,000 people said that they had actually taken a demo. And then finally, in the last column, 44.7% said they had actually talked to a manager before leaving. You could look back to May, 22,956, 43, 66, 44, and then June month to date. We're not quite done yet, really along the same lines. What does this tell us? This tells us the customer's perception. This is 58,000 people. Basically, 43% of them on average said that they'd been followed up with by the store. That means over 50% felt like they hadn't been followed up with by the store. Over 30% said that they felt like they hadn't taken a demo drive, which would be real. And then over 50% said they hadn't been introduced to a manager. What can we digest from this? Well, I think what we can look at is just about every dealer has a CRM and or process. But is it consistent? Does it work? What can we do to improve it? We, of course, want to attract new customers. We want to keep existing customers. We want to reactivate lost customers. But you really have to have an environment to execute on that. Guy Kawasaki, formerly of Apple, said to be a baker, not an eater. I totally agree. I think you should be a farmer, not a harvester. Always look ways to plant more seeds. You can always grow more. So how do you create that environment inside the dealership? And I think, first of all, for a good CRM culture, in order to get all this, every single person inside the store should be about the selling process. And that even starts all the way down to the receptionist. I've instituted and I recommend in past seminars, even including paying the receptionist on a per sold vehicle to get them involved. These particular people inside of our store from the receptionist base, they usually contact more people and touch more customers and clients than anybody else in the store, and unfortunately, they're typically some of the lowest paid. What I want to do is I want to get every single person in the culture of the store after one thing, and that's all about selling cars, even starting with the receptionist. Now, if that receptionist is touching so many people, we should incorporate them also into the information gathering. Make sure that you provide access into the CRM for the receptionist. In a lot of cases, we try to do, or we tend to do, a lot of multitasking. They're counting ROs, they're sorting out files, etc. I say concentrate on one thing, and that's greeting our customers and gathering information. That $100 or $200 or $300, if you pay them $1 per sold, isn't a lot of money to the dealership, but it's a ton of money to that individual every month, and now they're focused on the same thing that everybody else is, which is selling cars. As we discovered in the first part of this presentation, look, technology cannot be your entire presentation because it'll fail, and if it fails, so will you. So it has to be a tool. It's not just a process in the showroom, it's a tool. It should help streamline, but it shouldn't complicate. So we want to make sure that the customer experience is driven by the way customers are treated, and it doesn't necessarily change just by adding or changing a CRM system. It has to be all about the cultural, starting all the way down to the receptionist. We're going to talk about gathering information best. You can only follow up with what that's been entered in the first place. Garbage in, garbage out. We know that right up front. It's all about logging every single customer, phone, internet, phone, and service. And we know that going into it. That's not something new to anybody that's here. What is new is the fact that there are two places that are automatic already. That's service and the internet department. And I say, look, let those go for the time being. They'll take care of themselves in terms of the logging aspect. What we want to do is we want to concentrate on the showroom and the phone ups that are presented to us every day inside the dealership. How do we do this? Well, first of all, we've got to increase, again, from the culture based upon everybody being after one thing, and that's managing the activity, not the result. I suggest a logging bonus. Now, first thing I see when I say that to general managers or dealer principals is their eyes start to cross. I'm not going to pay somebody to do what they should already be doing, or I'm not including another bonus. I totally agree. I think what a logging bonus should be is a qualifier. Most people inside the dealership right now, you have a bonus already, whether it's the volume bonus, whether it's a gross bonus. Tie it into something that's existing right now. How do you do that? Go into your sales meeting on a Monday or a Friday or whenever you hold it. Walk around the room. Ask them how many people, ask your salespeople how many people do they talk to on a daily basis. I guarantee you they'll tell you at least 2, and sometimes they'll tell you up to 4. But they'll always tell you they talk to at least 2 people per day. And every single salesperson thinks that they absolutely work 26 days a month. They only get Sundays off. So now that 2 times 26, it's 52. Look, I don't want anybody to miss out on a bonus. So maybe you drop it down and you say, okay, for the month of July, 40 people logged qualifies you for the regular volume and gross bonus. If you had 10 salespeople, you just got 400 logged showroom ups, I guarantee it. They're already there. The difference is we're just not getting them into the system. Now, long-term wise, you're going to want to keep ratcheting it up, and that's challenge and change that we'll talk about in just a second. We don't want anybody to fall off. We want to keep ratcheting up so that we get everybody there. So maybe in August you move it to 45. Maybe in September you move it to 50 on logged showroom ups. In any case, what you want to do is make sure that we don't lose anybody, but that we're gathering the maximum. So manage the activities, not the results. Keep it simple. Look for a phone number, look for an email. A lot of dealerships ask me about driver's license scanners, optical character reads. Look, everybody has that technology. Every CRM company does. I recommend against it. It's not always correct, number one. Number two, you don't have 2 critical pieces of information. There's no phone number, there's no email. And most dealerships at this point are not going to spend the money or have the option to spend the money to send out regular postal mail. So go after the 2 easy things, phone number, email. Good CRMs will give you the opportunity to have a reverse phone append. What we recommend and what we use is actually something a little bit different than the traditional white page reverse phone lookup. We actually use information from pizza delivery companies. Here's the great part about it. Everybody's ordered a pizza. Everybody's given them their address. That information is 10 times better than the regular white pages because anybody who's even put themselves on a do not call or a do not disturb or have a private, it will come up on that, and it's instantaneous. Teach the salespeople to go after those very small things, and then you'll get more information as we go. A good CRM can instantly show you any of those past transactions. So we want to utilize the CRM and social media to learn about customers. Most of the time, our customers know more about us and more about the process than we do inside the store. We typically wait for the salesperson to come tell us the story. A good CRM should be able to give you the transparency of seeing the past sales, the past service gross, what they've done on the vehicle, maybe even any of the ROs they've done on the vehicle that they want to trade. Finally, we want to challenge and change. You want to use the CRM to monitor the daily. Use a scoring system. A good CRM will have a motivation dashboard. This will allow you to change it on a monthly basis. 2 phone numbers, maybe that's what July's will be after. In August, maybe you go after 2 emails or address. You set that. Everybody's a competitive nature in our business. What we should start trying to do is set that competitive nature upon going after activities versus results, and that's one of the challenges that we had. We're always trying to base and manage people on results. Results are too late. It's history. I recommend challenging people, competitive, managing, and monitoring the activities. I know that if I talk to more people, you will eventually sell more cars because there's strong closers in the dealership that will do that. Other thing I recommend, establish better inbound phone process and pass it to logs. The receptionist takes the inbound phone call. Establish a 5-team sales team each month. Rotate that on a monthly basis based upon the reports inside the CRM on appointments shown or sold. Instead of just ringing the phone through to the next available salesperson, ring it through to the one of the 5 that you've assigned for that team. Maybe the receptionist can even log that person that was transferred to into the CRM if they have access to that. So now I can see where the phone calls are going. Look, I know a lot of people have the great telephony companies that are out there, and good CRMs integrate with those, but you've got to execute on that. As we look at this next slide on 3, we just want to try to translate that top technology into real-world usage. So we recommend a CRM champion who's accountable to the dealer for all CRM related activities. Again, this is back to managing the activities versus the results. Anytime you have assigned one person for something that's accountable, you will get results and you will achieve them. If we look at like what happens on a split deal, for instance, on delivery, I know for a fact that split deals have a lower CSI than traditional single salesperson deals. Why? Because each salesperson thinks that the other one's doing what they're supposed to be doing and follow, and at the end of the day, nobody's doing as much as they should. You have to have one person accountable for these tasks and these opportunities. Now, here's what ends up happening. That same cross-eyed look comes across and says, I'm not hiring another person. I just spent this money in a CRM or I already invested. Why would I want to hire another person? I totally agree. Identify and utilize current resources inside the store. Here's my recommendation. Use the F&I managers or F&I closers. Here's why. Number one, they're usually some of the best closers in the store. That's why they took this position. Number two, they're already there. They're not always busy. They're not closing deals 12 hours a day, 18 hours a day, one after another. And if they are, what a great problem to have. You need to hire more people anyway. Finally, they're process-oriented already. That's why they're in finance. Early and often. Look, if I have a finance manager that's a manager of the store that's greeting customers as they walk in the door and gathering information and identifying themselves, I guarantee you the competition down the street or across the street's not doing that. Your customer's going to get a different kind of culture and environment that they've never had before, where the manager is greeting them versus coming out at the end of the deal when they're trying to do the negotiation. These people are already in the store. Let's use them and maximize that. They can help gain the information with your salespeople. And look, worst case scenario, any of these deals that go all the way through, we already know some of the great companies that are out there promote getting the F&I managers in early and often, because we know when they establish that rapport, F&I growth goes up. I look at that kind of like the menu option. Every good F&I department's presenting a menu to every single customer. Why don't we do that in the greeting of our customers with managers, and why don't we do that with penciling and presenting professional opportunities to buy a car on each one? So that next piece goes into establish the centers of excellence. What we want to do is we want to have a customer-facing environment. What does that mean? That means I want to be able to present every single opportunity to buy a car. Present an opportunity every single time. That means when they walk in the door, a good CRM should be able to present multi-opportunities to pencil that vehicle or to purchase that vehicle. Number one kickback I get from dealerships is, why do I want to give them that information? They're going to shop me. Guess what, guys? They're shopping you already. They're shopping you inside your own dealership. They're shopping you on your own website while they're inside the dealership. Let's give them an opportunity to buy the car. Let's give them those professional printed out pieces. A good CRM can do that at any given time instantaneously. As we go to 4, we got to leverage the lifetime customer profitability. What does that mean? Well, once we've gathered the info, and we've got to utilize it, we've got to execute on it. That just doesn't mean on the initial visit. That means later up in the follow-up and the database. Look, if you're a great dealership, what, are you close 30%? I don't believe that, but there are some dealers that probably do that. That still leaves 70% of the people that we're coming in touch with that aren't buying on the first time. We should be concentrating more effort on the people that didn't buy versus the ones that are already in our showroom. You guys do a great job with those, but how do we do that? A good CRM needs to be able to take that prospect to sales conversion. It needs to be able to incorporate the integration of all departments. Sales, service, internet should all be combined. In so many dealerships, these are still individual silos. I don't understand why we don't do a better job in most dealerships of selling cars through the service line. In most cases, you have more people going through the service lane every month as unique visitors than you do in your front showroom or certainly your internet. We've got to take advantage of that. Daily follow-up referrals, marketing plans, good CRMs will provide that for you instantaneously. Avoid the sales jail. What is the sales jail? That's taking that same group of salespeople every day, giving them their daily marketing plans at the same time, and then following up and making phone calls to the same number, to the same person at the same time every day. If I call Jerry Jabroni at 10 a.m. every morning and I don't get an answer, but I continue to do that, eventually I'll give up and I won't succeed. Got to switch it up. You've got to change up the times. You've got to continue to challenge and change. We want to make sure that we maximize and leverage all of those opportunities. When we go on to the real database mining, number 5, turning data into dollars, this is the real key. What we want to do here is a good CRM should be able to provide equity positions on any number of different kind of customers, but they need to be able to do it instantaneously. And not only instantaneously, but it needs to be done transparently. So we look at the perfect prospect. And what is that? That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Mining the service drive and the data and the people that are coming through there. A good CRM should be able to show you those customers that are coming in for service today, right now, that are in an equity position, regardless of whether they bought from you or not. In fact, most dealers, 50%, maybe more, maybe a little bit less, originally purchased their vehicle somewhere else. These are opportunities for us to sell them a vehicle. Nobody takes this on a large scale when we look at the dealer base as a whole. There are a few great dealers that are using CRMs and database mining opportunities that are really plugging their months along. Paragon Honda is a great example of that. #1 CPO certified pre-owned Honda store in the world. They sell 80 cars a month out of the service lane specifically. How do they do that? Well, they've got dedicated resources to the point where they look at that information provided by their CRM before the customer shows up. They know what kind of equity position that customer's in, and they even know, because the CRM's told them, what vehicle that customer could trade into right now and at what payments. Look, you don't have to go hire more people to do this. You don't have to establish that kind of process in the service lane if you don't feel comfortable yet. But I recommend at the very least getting a CRM or using your CRM that can actually print out multiple presentations and even just lay it on the seat of the vehicle when the customer comes to pick it up. Incorporate that in the service advisor in the service lane. Pay them on every vehicle that gets sold or gets popped that way. And look, sometimes the service director will come to you and say, hey, I don't want you taking these great customers out of my service lane. I've done all the service work. Certify those cars. I guarantee you put more work into a certified vehicle than you do a regular one. The service director will buy into that. Service advisor gets paid on the sale of that, and all you're doing is found business. It's as simple as printing out that presentation, already identified from the CRM, laying it in the passenger seat when they come to pick it up, maybe even having somebody handwrite a note on there that comes from the pre-owned manager that says, I saw your car, I'd love to have it, add it to my inventory, call me. If only 1% of the people that you did that were going through your service lane every month actually responded to that, what would you have? Do the math. If you've got 400 people coming through, there's 4 deals. If you've got 1,000, there's 10. That's easy pickup business that's there right now that we don't go and do because it's difficult. The CRM should make it easy and provide that for you. Traditionally, on the flip side, on our target database for sales, what we want to do is we want to avoid the carpet bomb. What is that? That's the 5,000, 10,000 piece mailer that we arbitrarily put out in our local zip code or a PMA, and we try to track the people in for the vacation or the holiday or the 3-1 flashlight. Look, guys, think on a smaller basis and more targeted. A good CRM should have a database mining tool already built into it that can identify smaller lists that are much more manageable that you can actually execute on. These campaigns should be built around the current incentives. They should be built around what you have in inventory. They should be able to be instantaneous and allow you to be first to market. If Honda comes out with a new incentive on July 2nd, you should be the first Honda store that can market to the database around you that could go and get that. Because I guarantee you the other 4 or 5 Honda stores around you, they're going to want to look to do the same. It's going to be about who executes first on that. Don't make it something that's this broad-based. Look to do 500 to 1,000 people in a good database mining tool. Make sure your database mining tool is hooked into Black Book. It can give you estimated payoffs on each additional customer, provide you equity, and limit the inequity. You don't want to bring in customers that are $4,000 or $5,000 buried. A good CRM should allow you to limit that where it's only maybe $1,000, $1,500 in negative equity. Then you know your good F&I person can get them out of that car, but you don't have the heater inside the showroom. Again, I don't need to go after 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people. I want to keep it small, and I want to do it on a regular basis. Set this process up inside the store. If you have a BDC, make sure they're actually a business development center versus a BFC, which is a business follow-up center. There are a lot of people out there that have great BDCs that are actually just BFCs. They do a lot of follow-up, but not a lot of development. A good CRM should be able to be incorporated into your BDC to allow them to do this database marketing on these targeted campaigns and allow you to do true business development versus just following up on the customers. Finally, we look at the managing activities versus results. It's about every day the 5-minute manager. We need to be able to be that person that walks around the showroom by walkabout. I don't want either your CRM champion to be paralyzed by analyzation. I don't want anybody in the dealership to be consumed by reports. A good CRM should allow you to do this in 5 minutes a day. I should be able to coach and counsel. I should be able to look at my salespeople and see where they're at on the logging. Look, every one of you, we're all sitting on the 28th. It's the last of the month. We've got a few days left, a weekend, and then a holiday. You have a sales meeting. If you go in there right now and expect some guy to go from 5 cars to 15 cars in the next 3 days, it's probably not going to happen, and we certainly shouldn't expect it. And if it does, then they weren't working for you the whole month anyway, and shame on you. What we want to do is identify that person that's at 5 cars back on the 10th, and why. How many people have they talked to? What are they tracking to talk to? How much have they logged? This is a 2 or 3 minute process each and every day. It should not be a full accountable work program. Only when you go to that elite champion or that CRM champion at that point can take on a lot of other responsibilities. Make sure you're changing it up. We talked about challenging and changing. Listen, Joe Verdi says that if you do something over and over again, it becomes a routine. What is a routine? A routine is just a rut that's been extended. Make sure you're constantly challenging, you're constantly changing it up for your salespeople. Again, 2 phone numbers may be the goal for July. The following month, maybe we want to make sure we get a valid email on every single customer that's in there. Keep it simple. Don't try to add too much on. The more you add on, the less you'll get, not the more you'll get. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You have a logbook, you have a log form, and you have a log for the log of the logbook. We have all these different points of entry, and ultimately nothing gets entered. So keep it simple. Finally, improve the culture. Make it that it's everybody's thinking about one thing. Instead of selling cars all month, start thinking in a crazy term of managing activities, creating more activities. If you went out for July and said, instead of selling 200 cars this month, I want to log 1,000 people in our CRM, what would happen? The results would automatically be there. The numbers game never changes. It's just how we handle it. Make sure you monitor that on a daily basis. Make sure you reward that on a monthly basis. Outside of that, Ileana, I'm going to turn it over to you to try to keep us on time, even from our little bit late start. Fire away.
Okay, great. Boy, you flew through that information. Wait, I have a question really quick before we get started. Do dealerships really double and triple entry their information into logbooks and stuff before the
I think by theory, some dealerships do that. Not as many today as it used to be a few years ago, but there are still dealerships out there that have multiple points of entry or try to require multiple entry items for salespeople. And look, that's just not what they're good at. Salespeople are high A, assertive. They're great to go talk to people, but they're really low D. Their detail, their organization is not great. Why do I say that? Because I'm one of those guys. The only difference is I'm a terrible salesperson. That's why I'm not on the retail side anymore. So here's what we have to do. We've got to keep it easy. You can't require multiple points of entry. You can't require multiple items of entry. They're just not going to get it done. Try to funnel it into one place. Let's get the simple stuff first, and then we can go back for the rest.
That makes sense to me. And to your point all the way back on point number 1, I love that you said make sure that you have a really great receptionist, because you have no idea how many times I have been turned off by a really
it's the least
poor
piece that we ever think of, Ileana. And again, think about this. That person touches more people inside the dealership every day and every month than just about anybody else in the store. But again, they're usually one of the lowest paid. And the second thing is we usually try to multitask them to maximize our dollar. The great receptionists of the world sometimes are able to control the entire atmosphere, the customer, gather that information, and again, if you give them access and we dedicate that, they can even improve the information gathering and the control of the showroom right there. They see more of the showroom sometimes than even our managers do. It's not our managers' fault. They're busy doing a lot of other things that they should be doing. I just recommend use that as a focal point. Be different. If that's the first touch and it's the best touch, now I can really maximize getting that information gathering. And it doesn't require a lot. Again, maybe just pay them $1 on each sold delivery that we do each month. Get them involved in that process.
That's a great idea. Okay, well, we do have a couple of questions to get to. Before we get to the questions, Bill, I wanted to let you know that we do have a couple of really good responses to our Google Plus question that we had posted earlier. And these people, of course, are trying to win the 500 Name Gold Digger Campaign gift certificate valued at $1,750. So real quick, I'm going to throw them out there. We're not naming a winner yet. I do want you to know you still have a little bit of time. So if you haven't gone yet to the Dealer on Google Plus page, now's your chance to do it. So one answer to the question, and by the way, just as a reminder, the question is, tell us the most innovative example of customer follow-up or lead generation that actually worked in your dealership. So Adam Denault wrote in and he said, I used to do a personal newsletter to all my clients at least once a quarter when I was in sales. It always generated a great response from previous clients as well as them referring friends and family to me. Adam, that's a great response, so thank you for that. And we also have another really good response. This one came from Swant Graber, Chevrolet, Dodge, Ram, Ford. And he writes, we use video in our newsletters and monthly web ads from their sales consultants to service advisors. When an inquiry hits our CRM, we take a walk around video of that vehicle too. Video may take more time to edit and publish, etc., but it proves to be beneficial overall. Customers love to know that we care because we really do. And that's from Katie Wagner. So thank you so much, Katie. Appreciate that. That's a great answer. Right, Bill?
I think it's fantastic. Any of the newsletters, that's a lost art form, Ileana. And again, because it's so labor intensive and we have so many items to do inside the store. Again, I think a good CRM can help you with that in terms of the publication, be able to deliver that for you. And you always want to keep it relevant. I think all the great suggestions when you look at newsletters and keeping in contact, it's about relevancy, whether that's online or whether that's through your delivery on a monthly newsletter or a quarterly newsletter. Keep it relevant. Things that are important to them. Customers are looking for that experience. You know, we have to remember we're not their friends. They don't come over and have dinner with us, but at the same time, we want to establish that information that's usable and viable for them. Those are great ideas.
Excellent, both of you. Thank you so much for those. And of course, if you have an answer, go right now because we're coming up to the top of the hour, and that's when we're going to give somebody a big prize. Okay, so we do have a couple questions for you, Bill. First question comes from John. He says, I have a large, outdated database, and I want to market to those leads, but I don't want to spend a ton of money on ones with erroneous contact information. What do you suggest? How can I maximize my marketing efforts? And you know what, John? I think that's a question that a lot of people face. I think that's a very common problem. Wouldn't you say, Bill?
I would say, and you've got, you know, everything is always broken down into thirds. You have the top third that are always doing it, that don't have that issue, the middle third that are still trying to grow through, and the bottom third that are always there and have challenges like that, and it can change at any given time. I think this can be addressed by two things. You have a short term and you have a long term. The short term is you can do a number of different things to increase the validity of your database. You don't want to spend good marketing dollars after bad data. They've got bad emails, they've got bad addresses, they've got bad phone numbers. Look, you already know that. That's why you asked the question. So how do we change that in the short term? First of all, I incorporate the sales staff, the receptionist, and the cashier back in service. Very simple. Typically, reverse email append on any company in the world, probably going to run you about 25 cents a piece for a good email that gets returned. So you can either choose that to an external company out there to get instant information, or you could do that internally with the cashier, the receptionist, and the salespeople. And that's what I recommend right off the bat. You've got to make sure that you incorporate that in a monthly activity for this month to go out. Do a campaign. Make sure you do phone calls, which is the most important because you can validate whether those phone numbers are real or not. Make sure that we're incorporating that in our logging process, and that kind of transitions into your long-term approach, which is we have to go back to make it a culture. We've got to make sure that we're identifying good phone numbers, using a good CRM that will do a reverse lookup so that we can get their address, and then also email. So again, if I've got a good CRM, I'm going to do it by phone, I'm going to do it by email, and that's what I'm going to concentrate on in terms of my activity rewards or requirements by my salespeople as I tie that into the logbook or the logging gross or any of the other items that you currently have. You have a great sales force, you have a great amount of people, and you have all the labor at your fingertips. It's just about getting them to execute on it. Ileana?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking and I was muting myself.
That's all right.
I was going to say, that's great. And John, I hope that answered your question. Certainly if you have a follow-up question, right back in. But I was wondering, Bill, is it normal that some of these campaigns they seem very labor-intensive with the calling campaigns and that kind of thing? That's normal? We always have to go to our salespeople and our service people to help out?
Well, I think everybody looks at this in a different manner, and there are a lot of options out there. My personal opinion is, as great as salespeople are at the dealership level, I've done nothing other than that, and again, I was a terrible salesperson. But I was even worse on the phone as a salesperson. And
I don't believe that. Come on, Bill.
Honest to God. First month out at Savannah Toyota, it can be registered. You can call the store. In 1991, I sold 3 cars my first month there. That's a whole nother story. But here's the truth. Most good salespeople aren't very good on the phone. They're great face-to-face. And again, they don't have that attention to be able to continue to go through a campaign. If you hand them 20 or 30 or 40 people and expect to get good results out of them making a cold call to them, it's probably not going to happen. And most managers know that because they were good salespeople too, and they didn't do a great job when it comes to that. It's really difficult to get into that mode to make a call after call after call because you're going to get a lot of negative response back. And maybe sometimes you don't even know what to say or how to approach it. So some dealerships will give it to the sales floor, tell them to go at it, go get me some appointments, great. We feel good because something's getting done. Some dealerships have a great process, and some of their salespeople are some of the best phone people in the world. It's rare. That's why there was always the establishment of the BDC. So that's challenging, though. A lot of dealerships went down that path and tried to establish a BDC, but look, it's not very cost effective. It costs a lot of money to have a BDC. Even if you only have 3 or 4 people in any state in the country, that may run you $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month just in labor costs before you even start adding in anything else on that. It's going to take a lot of car sales out of there to justify that expense. Some dealerships will go to outbound companies that will provide that for them, that can instantly react to that, do a customized campaign, give them the results, and then they don't have to do that in terms of managing, and certainly the cost factor is significantly less. A lot of different ways to go, a lot of different options. You have to find what best fits your culture inside the store. I have some dealers that will come to me and say, hey, look, our customers don't want to get called by somebody else. look, if that's the way you feel, don't do it, because I guarantee you that you'll find some issue or some reason that will come up on that. But if you do believe in it, then find a way to make it happen and execute in the store.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, well, that was just my question, but we do have a really great question from Tom, and I don't know, Bill. He's gonna put you on the spot on this one.
As opposed to the PowerPoint not working earlier. Come on,
that's true. Anything that comes your way now is just gravy. Okay, so Tom wrote in, and he said, there is no way I can monitor everything. Even if I choose one person to oversee, how can I make sure that tasks are actually completed and just not marked that way? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question, and I agree. It's difficult to monitor everything, and that's why we recommend the CRM champion in a store utilizing current resources. But let's address this question specifically. Most good CRMs, at least in my opinion, the ones that I've seen that are out there, a good CRM is going to give you the ability to tie into either your existing phone system or an existing telephony company, or provide that for you. So that when the salespeople are making outbound calls, not only can you monitor how long have they been on the phone to that task, was it a recording? You know, were they only on there for 35 seconds, or did they go over a minute or two? When did they make the phone calls? Was it an actual task that was on their daily marketing plan, or was it even somebody that was in the database? So a good CRM should be able to do that, at least have that as an option for you, so that, again, you can look quickly at a report and say, okay, I know Jerry made 32 phone calls today. I know the average phone call was a minute and a half. That's definitely not leaving messages. And I know out of the 32, 29 of those were existing database customers inside the CRM in the store already, or tasks. Then I know that they're actually contacting the people they're supposed to be contacting, and I know it instantaneously without having to ask for some story. So that's real critical. Now, the first thing that has to happen, though, once you establish that process inside the store, look, here's what will happen. I'll give you the first objection that's going to come around. Because salespeople, we're fantastic at one thing, and that is avoiding doing what we're supposed to be doing. We will absolutely take 10 steps to avoid doing 2 steps that we're told to do. So the first rejection or objection they're going to come to you is, oh, boss, I called them on my cell phone. Look, eliminate that right up front. You got to call from the dealership phone. I don't want you wasting your own minutes. I'm not going to pay for your cell phone. Let's make sure you're calling from the dealership phone. That's the first thing that they're going to come to you under that process. So just be ready for that.
I was going to say, that's a really good answer.
Although Tom's dealership may be different, and his salespeople won't. So that would be wonderful, and I hope so.
Yeah, and I know the CRM that I had to use, they said if it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen. So
that's exactly right.
So we never got any credit for it. It didn't matter what crazy excuses we came up with. All right, well, Bill, thank you so much for that. I do want to say that since we are so close to the top of the hour, we are going to end the contest, and I do believe we have a winner.
Who's the winner?
The winner is Katie Wagner with Swant, Graber, Chevrolet, Dodge, Ram, Ford. Katie, you are the winner of a 500-name Gold Digger campaign gift certificate valued at $1,750, and your answer to today's question was perfect. So the question was, tell us the most innovative example of customer follow-up or lead generation that actually worked in your dealership. And you can go to dealeron.com's Google Plus page to see her answer, which had to do with using video in their newsletters and monthly web ads from their sales consultants to service advisors, and they would do video walk-arounds, and customers love to know that we care because we really do. And Katie, that's exactly the kind of answer we were looking for. So congratulations, and we'll be in touch with you and get you that gift voucher as soon as we can. Bill, don't you agree? That was a great answer, right?
I thought that was great, and Katie, thank you so much for responding and sending in such a great answer. We'll be happy, and we're looking forward to doing a campaign for you and selling some cars.
Katie already wrote in and she says, yay, she's very, very excited, and so are we. So thank you so much for that, and your feedback and your participation, very, very, very much appreciated. So, Bill, that was a fantastic presentation. We are at the top of the hour, so perfect timing. Any questions that weren't answered today during the time allotted will be answered by email later today. And I want to remind the audience that a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording is also going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. Share it with friends and colleagues. And today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. So just go to dealeron.com/webinars and view our upcoming webinar schedule too. And just so you know, yes, we already gave that out, so Katie, thank you very much. Invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next webinar. And this one, oh, we got somebody to talk to you about how to use lead scoring, behavioral data, and incentives to sell more cars faster. And that's with none other than Jeff Kirshner, Vice President of Sales at HookLogic and founder of Dealer Refresh. He'll be talking about best practices to incentivize visits to your showroom. So this will be another can't-miss presentation by your friends at Dealeron. And don't forget, Dealeron's weekly webinars are held every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern or 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we have some really great webinar subjects planned for this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, then feel free to contact me directly. Again, my name is Eliana Raggio, and I love hearing from you, so track me down online or email me at eliana@dealeron.com. And thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today. We hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a good one, and thanks so much, Bill. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Eliana.
Take care. Bye-bye.